Happy Thursday, guys. I hope you're having a great morning or a great day if you're watching this later on. For today's class, we're actually going to do an activity on the video you guys watched on Tuesday. So on Tuesday, you should have learned about animal classification, and that's what we're going to be doing today. So I want you guys to put on your science helmets, thinking caps, whatever you want to call it, and we're going to do some classification. So to start, you guys are going to need a sheet of paper and just something to write with. So I'm going to be using this marker to trace my lines and my pen to write my sentences or my words. So remember, this is a video, so if you need more time, go ahead and pause it. But I'm going to go ahead and start with my folding. So what I want you guys to do is hold your paper long ways. So what that means is that if I run my fingers down, that is the long side. So when you have your paper like this, I want you guys to go ahead and fold it in half. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. Then once you have it folded in half, I want you guys to go ahead and flip it on its side. So now the long side should be side to side. Once you have it like this, I want you guys to try to find the middle of the paper with your fingers. So I think the middle of my paper is about right here. It doesn't have to be perfect, guys. Just try to get it as close as you can to the middle, but I think it's about right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this set of fingers and I'm gonna fold the paper over so that the tip of the paper is meeting my fingers in the middle, just like that. Then I'm gonna take this hand and I'm gonna go ahead and press down to create another fold. And now you should have a fold on this end of the paper. Once you have that fold, go ahead and again, I don't have to find the middle anymore. I'm gonna go ahead and just fold from this point so that ends up making another little perfect square. So I'm gonna pinch this side and I'm gonna fold over. Oh. Just like that. And I'm gonna pinch down again. So you should have an extra flap over here, and that's perfect because that's exactly what you need. So if you have a marker or a pencil, whichever works, I'm just doing the marker so that you guys can see it a little bit better. I'm just gonna draw a line right where the end of my fold meets the paper. So do you see how if I press it down, I can see where that meets? I'm gonna go ahead and just draw the line. And then I'm gonna open up my sheet of paper. So after I open up my sheet of paper, I'm gonna just go ahead and continue shading my line all the way through. So it should look something like this. Then once you have that line, what I want you to do is go ahead and finish coloring in the rest of the lines that you made. So you should have one line going down, it should stop right there, and then two lines on the side. So I'm gonna go ahead and shade those in. And your paper should look like this. So in this bottom section, we're gonna end up writing the 3 different types of animal groups that we're gonna create. So the first one is going to be mammals. The second one is going to be reptiles. And the third one is going to be birds. So in order to classify them into those categories, I need to first come up with characteristics that I can help discover or see within animals in order to put them in. So a characteristic for myself, if I were describing myself, I would say I have brown hair, I would say something like glasses, or I could say something like my yellow sweater. Those are all characteristics to me and what I'm currently wearing or looking like right now. But in terms of characteristics for animals, we're gonna look at them and observe traits that they have. So certain things that those animals have in order to put them into the category of either being a mammal, a reptile, or a bird. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys 3 characteristics for each one, and I want you guys to go ahead and list them on the bottom of your paper. So the first one is going to be mammals. So go ahead and write the word mammals on the bottom of your paper so that it looks like this. And then I'm going to go ahead and list 3 characteristics for it. So the first one is going to be that mammals have bones. So I'm going to go ahead and write the word bones. The next one is that mammals give birth to their babies, which means that we end up, or mom mammals end up holding them within their bodies and then giving birth to them. So I'm going to go ahead and list give birth. And then the third one will be that mammals have hair. So I'm going to go ahead and list have hair. And it should look something like this when you're all done with mammals. Now for the next category, I'm going to go ahead and write in the word reptile because my next category is going to be for reptiles. And 3 characteristics for reptiles are, again, they have bones. Instead of giving birth to their babies, reptiles lay eggs, and those eggs hatch. So for reptiles, we're going to write lay eggs. And for the third category, reptiles have scales. So instead of having hair, they have those creepy looking scales, or some people like them, but I think they're a little creepy. But I'm going to go ahead and write have scales. And when you're done with reptiles, it should look like this. All right, and our last category is going to be birds. So same thing, we're going to list 3 characteristics for birds, and birds also have bones. So I'm going to go ahead and write bones. They also lay eggs. So I'm going to go ahead and write lay eggs. And now the difference between birds and reptiles, or one of the biggest differences, is that they have feathers. So I'm going to go ahead and list have feathers. And when you're done with that, your last category should look like that. All right, guys, so when you're done with those 3, you now have 3 different types of categories that you could plug into your animals. So we're gonna end up doing 3 animals together, and then the other 3 I want you guys to do by yourself at home to see if you can figure it out. So for the first box right up here, I want you to write the word dog because that's gonna be our first animal. So go ahead and write dog right at the top like that. Our next animal is going to be a lizard. So in the next box, I'm going to go ahead and write lizard. So it should look like that. In this third box, I'm going to write owl because that will be our next animal, an owl. And it should look like that. So that's what you're going to continue doing. I'm going to write the rest of the names, and I want you guys to label your animals in the boxes like that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and write the other 3 names. So the first 3 that I mentioned are the 3 that I'm going to talk about, and the other 3 are the ones I want you guys to do at home. So for the 4th one, I'm going to write bear. For the 5th one, we're going to do rattlesnake. And for the last one, we're going to do an ostrich. So when you're done labeling your boxes, it should look something like that. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and start with classifying the first one, which is a dog. So I know we're all familiar with what they look like, but I still added some pictures so that we can all have something. We're all looking at the same image. So my first one that I'm going to look at, so we're going to go ahead and observe how, I know it's such a cute dog, the dog looks on the outside. So let's look at the dog, and does the dog have hair, scale, or feathers? So this one should be pretty easy because most of us should have seen a dog by now, or at least petted a dog. And the answer is hair. So for the first box that says dog, I want you to go ahead and write a little bullet point, which is a circle, and then write the word hair because it has hair. So it should look like that. The next thing that I'm gonna look at is how their babies are born. So did these little pups hatch out of eggs? I don't think so. They usually come out. The mom dog gives birth to these cute little puppies. So because they are born from the mother, we're gonna go ahead and do another little bullet point for dog and write gives birth. So again, should look like that. Our next section that we're going to look at, or characteristic that we're going to look at, is what the dog looks like on the inside. So does a dog have bones? And I'm going to zoom that in a little bit more so you can see it. And a dog does have bones. So we're going to go ahead and write another bullet point. And we're going to write bones. So I have 3 characteristics that I see. A dog has hair, it gives birth, and it has bones. So when I look at the 3 categories that I could place it in, which would I place a dog in? Am I gonna place it in the reptile category? Am I gonna place it in the bird category? Or am I gonna place it in the mammal category? So if you guessed it, it is mammals. So I'm gonna go ahead and write the word mammal on the bottom of where my dog section is. So I just put 2 little stars and I underlined it so you could see that that is what category I placed a dog in. So I'm gonna do that same exact thing with a lizard. So I see my picture of my lizard. So does my lizard have hair, scales, or feathers? I should see that it has scales. So under lizard, I'm gonna go ahead and place a bullet point and I'm gonna write the word scales. Now I'm gonna look at how lizards are born. So do lizards give birth to them, or do they lay eggs and the eggs hatch? So by looking at this image, I should see that lizards are hatched. So I'm gonna go ahead and write lays eggs for lizard. And my last part that I'm going to look at is whether or not my lizard has bones. Does my lizard have bones? It does have bones. So I'm going to go ahead and list that final characteristic for lizard. So when I look at the 3 that I listed for my lizard, I should have a bullet point for scales. I should have a bullet point for lays eggs. And my last bullet point should be that it has bones. So when I look at those 3 characteristics and I compare it to the 3 categories I can place it in, which is my lizard going to be? Is it going to be a mammal? Is it going to be a reptile? Or is it going to be a bird? my lizard is going to be in the category of reptiles. So go ahead and list reptiles on the bottom of lizard. And again, I'm going to go ahead and put 2 stars and underline it so you can see it. All right, guys, so for the rest of this activity, I want you guys to classify an owl, a bear, a rattlesnake, and an ostrich. Make sure that you list what category it belongs to on the bottom. And when you're done, just have your parent, or if you can do it yourself, take a picture of it so that I can see your work. Have a great day, guys.